this is a test of explaining where the trip's going to go from. I'm going to use Navionics to show an overview of the whole trip, which you can more or less see there, moving from Cardiff down to Brighton here. So Cardiff here, and down to Brighton there, round Land's End. We'll just have a quick look at that. So if I zoom in on that, we start at Cardiff, and you can see the track there. We run past Barry Island, Nash Point up here, and we're moving down then to Lynmouth, Ilfracombe, Bull Point, and the first night is at Lundy Island. So we'll anchor there. Take us about 12 hours to get there with the tides and the wind, and we stay there for one night, and then we move down the Cornish coast. You can see Heartland Point here, and then down to Padstow. We're going to stay in Padstow Harbour for 2 nights. So we'll get there on the second night about 7 o'clock in the evening, and then we'll stay over that night, a full day in Padstow, and then we'll leave on the early tide for the crux move of the voyage, really, which is down the rest of Cornwall, past St Ives. There should be dolphins galore in there, and then we go round Cape Cornwall, the Longships Lighthouse, the Runnel Stone, and into Newlyn Harbour for one night. Then we move on from Newlyn Harbour and go around the second crux move, which is the Lizard, and from the Lizard we move north then into Falmouth. And what we're going to do there is stay at Mylor Yacht Harbour, somewhere on there, as a visitor for 4 nights, maybe 5 nights, we don't know yet, but this is supposed to be a holiday, so take it easy. From there, depending on the weather and everything like that, we set off again and do a short day's sail up the South Cornish coast to Foy, which is a lovely harbour, and we're going to have a few nights there. And from Foy, we move on to Plymouth. So we'll dodge the naval ships, and there's a marina here that we're going to stay in, the Mayflower Marina. We're going to stay in there for a few nights before we move on from Plymouth and along the south coast of Devon now, past Salcombe, and up to Dartmouth, where we bought Alize 7 years ago. We're in our 7th season, and it's 6 years ago now. And it'd be nice to go back to the Darthaven Marina, where we set off from with our skipper all those years ago, to travel back round. So it'd be nice to close that one off. Not sure what to do next, but one of the options is not to go across land there at Berry Head. We'll stay to the sea. We could go to Torquay, or we could go to Brixham. We can have a few days there. And then we've got this big stretch across here, across Lyme Bay to Weymouth. Weymouth will take a break either in the Portland Marina here, or Weymouth Town Marina here. We favour this one because there's a railway station here, and we're going to take a few weeks off, a week or so off, and go home. We can catch the train home. After a couple of weeks or so, we'll come back down to Weymouth, and we'll set off around here, perhaps call in Poole Harbour, and then past the Needles on the Isle of Wight. You can see the Isle of Wight there, and we really fancy going up the Bewley River to Buckler's Hard, which is quite a new marina, but quite a nice one. From Buckler's Hard, a few days there, we could go over to the Isle of Wight, East Cowes. There's a marina over there we can use. And then what we're going to do is go to Portsmouth to Haslar Marina. And we'll decide what we're going to do there. We may do a bit of touring around or whatever, it doesn't matter. We're on holiday. So, but the final leg of the journey is from Hasler in Portsmouth to Brighton Marina. And Brighton Marina was the first job that I worked on after graduating from university. So I'm really kind of interested in calling that the end of the trip. So once we've got out of there, if we have a look at the whole distances here, you can see here that that is 438 nautical miles. It'll be more than that, with an elapsed time of 3 days sailing, something like that. We're going to sail as much as we can. So all in all, with all the jiggling around and things like that, we'll be doing 1,000 nautical miles, and we will do that in about 3 months elapsed time, but there's plenty of breaks in there. So that roughly is what we're going to be trying to achieve over the next few weeks. This is a description of day one of our trip. We're going to leave our berth here in Penarth Marina, go to the outer basin. We intend to set off about 8 o'clock in the morning, an hour before high tide. These are the locks on the Cardiff Bay Barrage. We'll be going out of there. The sea level will be about the same level as the inner basin here, the what is now known as Cardiff Bay. That's a freshwater enclosure, and we go out here into the seawater, and the level will be about the same level there, so it won't be too dramatic, but we'll try and catch that from video. The whole journey starts proper at what is known as a marker called Outer Rack, and these are the rack sands and rocks and things like that, and you can see the shipping channel through there. We go south, more or less due south, past Ranny Spit and Lavernock Point. Interesting thing about Lavernock Point is it's where this little spot here is where Marconi made his first overseas radio message to Flathome here, one of the islands. So we'll dodge all the shipping, and we'll move down past Barry and Aberthaw power station, now disused. Nash Point we will see, famous lighthouse there for us, and we start moving then towards the south shore. Here we've got Porlock Weir, Foreland Point, the small lighthouse there, Lynmouth Bay, and then we run along this great hangman's cliffs here. This is the highest sea cliff in Britain, at 313 metres above sea level. And then we find a nice little bit of coastline here to Bull Point, which is one of the, it's really the beginning of the Bristol Channel. You can see there that we're still moving on out into the sea again to Lundy Island. We're still in the Bristol Channel at this point, but if we went to there, we'd be in the Atlantic Ocean. So the Atlantic Ocean comes from Milford Haven to Lundy Island to Hartland Point. So about here, we move into the Atlantic Ocean. So that's day one. Day 2 of the sail starts at Lundy Island. As we said in the previous clip, that we then move about here. We move into the Atlantic Ocean. These numbers here are the depth of water. So 50 meters deep, about 150 feet, something like that. You can see the fishery limits here. The whole plan that we're trying to work on here is to sail in daylight and to sail nearer the coast. Two good things about that is, one, that you can see where you're going and you can miss lobster pots, hopefully. At night, you're almost guaranteed to pick up lobster pots, so we want to avoid that because that's pretty dangerous. We go past Tintagel Head, and then down into Padstow Harbour and over the Doom Bar. You can see here, this is one of the so famous or infamous that they named beer after it. And then down this very narrow channel here, we don't go over land here. This is the green bit shows is the lowest possible tide, and we won't be going anywhere near that. And we hope to stay in the inner harbour at Padstow for 2 nights, just while we get over the first 2 nights. So that's day 2. More to come.